Most companies, when they think about growth, they think about building features. They'll launch a new button, maybe a new page, and then cross their fingers, hoping it brings in a little more revenue. But what if every single feature you built made the next feature even more powerful? Well, that's exactly what Amazon did. They didn't just build a product, they engineered a system for compounding growth. Okay, let's dive into what is really a masterclass in product thinking.
And you can see the difference in philosophy right off the bat. The typical approach, over on the left, it's totally linear. You build something, a user tries it, and hopefully you make some money. And that's kind of it. The story ends there. But look at Amazon's system on the right. It's not a line, it's a circle. A feature changes user behavior, which then feeds into a loop, and that loop is what drives real sustainable growth. It's a machine that literally fuels itself.
And this brings us to the first big misconception we've got to clear up. A lot of people hear the word flywheel, and they immediately think it's some high-level, abstract business strategy that was cooked up in a boardroom. But it's not. At its core, it's a product system, designed and built and improved every single day by product teams on the ground.
So what is the flywheel effect, officially? Well, think of a heavy, physical flywheel. It takes a lot of effort to get it moving, but with each push, it gets a little faster. And pretty soon, its own momentum starts to do most of the work. That's the idea here. It's a product system where every single component reinforces and accelerates all the others, creating this self-perpetuating loop of growth. The more it spins, the faster it can spin.
Okay, so let's trace how this machine actually works. It all starts with the customer experience. Things like fast shipping, easy returns, helpful reviews. A great experience gets people talking and coming back, which drives more traffic to the site. More traffic, of course, attracts more third-party sellers who want to get in front of all those eyeballs. More sellers means a wider selection of products, which naturally fuels competition and helps drive down prices. And what do lower prices and a massive selection create? You guessed it, an even better customer experience. And just like that, the loop starts all over again, only this time with more energy, more momentum than before. The really critical thing to get here is that every single one of these points, experience, traffic, sellers, selection, is a product that a team at Amazon is obsessed with improving. So we've got the loop. We see how it works. But a loop like this doesn't just magically spin faster on its own. There has to be a mechanism, a specific way that Amazon's teams add energy to the system. And this is the real engine behind the whole thing.
Which, brings us to the multi-billion-dollar question. How do they actually do it? It's not just about working harder or having more meetings. There's a very precise, incredibly data-driven method that they use to push this thing forward.
And here it is. This is the secret sauce. See, most companies are obsessed with output metrics, things like revenue, profit, market share. The problem is you can't directly control revenue. It's a result of other actions. It's a lagging indicator. Amazon, on the other hand, obsesses over input metrics. These are the controllable levers that actually cause the outputs. You can't directly control profit, but you absolutely can directly control things like average delivery time.
And here's what that looks like in the real world. For every single part of that flywheel we just saw, there's a specific, controllable input metric that a product team owns. For customer experience, they're not just hoping it gets better, they're maniacally focused on lowering the average delivery time. For selection, they're tracking the number of SKUs, that's unique products, added every single week. For traffic, it might be the new user conversion rate. These are the numbers the teams live and breathe, because they know if they can move their one input metric, they push the entire flywheel forward.
And this is where the compounding effect really kicks in. Let's say one team succeeds in reducing the average delivery time from 2 days down to just 1. That doesn't just improve a single metric in a spreadsheet. No way. It makes the customer experience dramatically better, which in turn increases the traffic conversion rate, which then attracts more sellers. That single improvement sends a jolt of energy through the entire system, making the whole thing spin just that little bit faster.
But, okay, Amazon is a massive, massive organization. So how do they possibly manage this at scale? It can't just be one giant flywheel that thousands of people are all trying to push at the same time. The answer is actually to break it down even further.
And here's where it gets really clever and maybe a little mind-bending. Amazon doesn't actually have one single monolithic flywheel.
In reality, it has hundreds of smaller interconnected micro flywheels. Each product team is responsible for its own little loop, its own flywheel that ultimately contributes to the larger system. This is how you scale operational excellence. You give every team their own machine to optimize.
Let's just look at a few examples to make this concrete. The search team? They have their own loop. Better search algorithms lead to better results, which gets more people to click, which gives them more data to make the search even better. It feeds itself. The ads team has one too. More sellers lead to more ads, which generates revenue to build better ad tools, which in turn attracts even more sellers. And of course, the logistics team has a hugely powerful loop. More orders allow for better, more efficient routing, which leads to faster delivery, which encourages people to place, you guessed it, more orders. Each of these micro loops spins on its own, but the crucial part is that its output feeds directly into the main Amazon flywheel, accelerating the whole shebang. Okay, so this is all fascinating for understanding Amazon, but the real question is, how can you actually use this? Let's walk through a simple 4-step playbook you can use to apply this kind of thinking to your own work.
First things first, define your core loop. What is the key set of actions in your product that leads to repeatable growth? Second, you've got to identify the input metrics for that loop. And remember, be ruthless here. Focus on the controllable things you can actually change, like speed or quality or engagement, not the final output like revenue. Third, you want to explicitly build for network effects. Ask yourself, how can one user's action, like writing a review or inviting a friend, make the experience better for everybody else? And finally, this changes how you prioritize. Instead of just adding a new feature, you have to ask, does this feature make the entire system stronger? Does it make the flywheel spin faster over time? That's a compounding feature.
And that really brings us to the final and I think most powerful insight from all of this. The goal isn't just to build a product that grows because you keep pouring money into marketing. The real goal is to build a product that compounds, where growth becomes an inevitable outcome of the system you so carefully designed. When your product truly becomes a flywheel, growth is no longer the problem you're trying to solve, it's just the result.